Welcome to Beyond the Cab podcast, where heavy machinery meets real stories. I'm your host, Josh Williams, president of the Operating Engineers Local 17. Along with my co-host, Sean Evenden, we will dive into what this podcast is all about. To start, we're going to interview retirees, journeymen, apprentices, and talk everything Local 17, including heavy equipment operation and union membership, with a blend of education, community engagement, and personal storytelling. It's not only informative, but also vital for new members who may feel lost in the vastness of their new environment. By sharing experiences, insights, we are looking to build a supportive community and help our listeners navigate their careers and build connections. Real stories from seasoned union veterans. Beyond the Cab connects newer union members and anyone listening with experienced operators, offering insights, laughter, and solidarity. Tune in for engaging discussions that reveal the heavy lifting of union life while sharing the struggles and triumphs of operating heavy equipment. Whether you're in the cab or behind the windshield, you feel right at home with us. If you're looking for a new career, tune in to see what operating heavy equipment and union life is all about. So, Sean, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Episode 1, here we are.
Thanks for letting me be the co-host.
Absolutely, man. This is great to have you. So, let's get right into it with yourself. Let's talk about where it all began. Like, how did you end up wanting to have a career at Local 17 or operating equipment?
So I guess it all began where probably most of ours did back in when we were kids in a sandbox playing with our Tonka toys. And but I guess mine goes a little further than that, being fifth generation of my family.
Wait a second. Fifth generation?
Fifth generation.
What do you mean? How?
Going back 125 years to my great-great-grandfather, Blackie Stanton, who was one of the charter members of Local 17.
Was that his real name, Blackie? That was his operating name.
Yeah, no, stationary name.
Oh, he's right. He was stationary. Oh, he's a stationary
yeah.
member. Yeah, Blackie. I like that. That's
Blackie
cool.
Blackie Stanton. Yep.
Wow. So your Blackie Stanton, your great-great-great-grandfather, actually started
Local
in the
17.
charter. Yeah,
Yep.
He was an original charter member.
Yep.
Wow, one of the OGs.
One of the OGs. Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, one of the founders of the AFL-CIO in this area as well.
That's amazing. Wow, you go way back, 125 years ago. That's cool.
Yep.
So he's fifth generation. So what do we know about the fourth, third?
Would be his son Tom Stanton, and then it would go back to my grandfather Ray Barrett, and then the most current one, my uncle Bob.
Everybody knows Bob Barrett. He's an absolute legend in this local.
Yep, 40-year crane operator.
Yeah, remember he was running the crane at the HSBC arena. That's what it was called back then, right? In 1995 or so.
HSBC, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow, Bobby Barrett. I remember oiling for him on the Bliss Wind Farm, and he didn't really like any oilers that weren't Marines. If you're a Marine, you're good to go, but I had to earn my way with him.
Yep, he was, my grandfather was a Marine as well, and so was he.
And you didn't get to go to the Marines?
Nope, didn't go to the Marines, went to work.
There you go. There you go. So, you're talking sandbox, all right, so we're moving up to high school and that. Did you start running some equipment or getting into that kind of work?
Yeah, in high school I worked on a couple different dairy farms. So, skid steers, tractors, working the ground and cleaning the barns. And
then from there, did you get into?
From there, I got into some residential, building houses and construction like that, and then went into a company doing sewers, water lines, septics.
Probably as a laborer at first, right?
Yep, walking the trench. Yep,
all right. So somewhere. I've been down a similar path, but somewhere along the way, you got a chance to run something at that company, I bet.
Yep. We were fixing a drain line at a house, and the operator had enough and grabbed his lunchbox and walked off the job, and it was either I backfilled the trench with a shovel or got in the machine and figured it out for myself.
What kind of machine we talking?
Kubota, 057.
Oh, a Mini X.
Oh, that might have been a 121 at that point, but still Kubota.
Either way,
yep.
Yeah. That's probably
Mini
121. Operator just said, I'm done with this deal, and just
walked
left.
off. Yep.
Oh, that's
walked
classic.
off and down the road.
Did you run a hole before that, or was it that kind of first time?
Not doing anything substantial, just hogging a pile.
So did you get to be like the next guy? Like, okay, I'm the operator now, or was that just that day?
Little bit of work with the owner, and then it was me.
There you go.
Away I went.
And how old were you then?
25, 26.
25. Okay, cool. Yeah. So then, at what point did you kind of realize that this is what I want to do, like run on heavy equipment? Was it at that job, or was that just a job?
I always had it, in the back of my head. That's something that I wanted to do, knowing that my family was in the operators before me, and just something I enjoyed doing, and that was the opportunity that came up, and I took it and ran with it.
Was Bobby still working then?
He was. Yep.
He couldn't just get you in.
No, there was.
We'll get you in, kid.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He had moved away from here. He was living in Corning, but the work was up here. So then he was staying at my parents' house, and I had talked to him a couple times.
How did he get to Corning? What happened? I mean, female.
Doing a job down there.
Okay.
And
All right. Corning.
But yeah, I asked him about getting in, and he just said it wasn't the right time. Keep doing what I was doing, get the experience and the seat time, and apply later on. And that's what I did.
Got in first time?
First time applying, yep. Got in after. After that first contract, I'd worked for somebody else, but that was a race on Fridays at noon to get your check and get to the bank. Otherwise, it wasn't going to clear. And
get there first. So there's money in it when you got it. Yeah, okay.
Had about enough of that.
Was it concrete?
It was concrete.
Oh, it's concrete. Okay, yeah, I've heard that story before around here. So applied for the apprenticeship. You remember your interview?
Yeah, yep. I showed up for the interview and got there early, walked in, peeked through the window as the guy ahead of me was in the interview, as he was dressed in a suit coat and nice shirt, nice dress pants.
What were you wearing?
Work clothes.
Oh,
So I happened to live close enough, so I beat feet back out of here, went home and changed my clothes into something a little bit more.
You left, went home.
Yep, I lived
before the interview and changed.
Yep, lived in the village of Hamburg, so I beat feet home and put some nice clothes on, came back, and by the time I walked back in, they were walking back out, and I walked right in and sat down in the...
Heart going a mile a minute?
Yep, oh yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Took a deep breath, and here we go.
So, you remember the kind of questions they asked you and everything, or anybody that was in there?
Yeah, just a lot of questions about, what I had run in the past, because I had been around some, concrete crushers and stuff like that, and then... Nat Reffner was actually the one in the interview. He's like, so, who do you know? Like you said, you'd referred to your grandfather and your uncle, in the interview already, and but you didn't put their names down on the application.
Oh, you didn't name drop yet.
No.
Oh,
so he said, so who's your grandfather and who's your uncle? I said, well, my grandfather's Ray Barrett and my uncle's Bob Barrett. And he's just like, you got to be kidding me. Your uncle's Bob Barrett. You didn't even put his name down on the application.
Yeah, Bobby.
And then, Smoker speaks up and he says, well, that's all right. We got to keep going. We can't get into Bobby Barrett stories right now.
Oh, man, Dad had a bunch of them. He was a crane operator for a while. And, I looked up to Bobby because he was just that rough and tough guy. Old school. Let me know when the outriggers are 3 feet off the ground or something like that. Or when the door closed, he was far enough. Yeah, he was old school. Oh, that's cool. So then, obviously, you got in the first crack. Tell me about being an apprentice, at least for the first few years. Like, what do we do for jobs, and what'd you get for experience through that?
Yeah, so I got in April of 2016. Then apprentices were mandatory in school for a month and a half.
We come off kind of a rough year in 2015, so 2016 probably wasn't that great for work.
Nope. 2016, I think I had just under 600 hours for the whole year after my first year.
Yeah, that was a thing for a while. And there's a lot of apprentices that were, I heard stories of 400 or 500 hours all they got the whole season, but 600 to 1,000 was decent.
Yeah, just under 600. Lost my health insurance, lived on $113 of sub pay a week for 4 weeks till I could renew my unemployment.
Oh, yeah, because you're on unemployment?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Obviously, you did some drywall or something on the side. Yeah.
Made it happen.
Yeah, you just make it happen, right? What did you get? Like, what kind of jobs do you remember getting in the apprenticeship?
So right out of the gate, I ended up oiling on a pipeline in Perrysburg with you.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was your first job.
I went out. I was a switch partner with Brandon Carbone at Oak Grove. I was there for.
What job was that? Which member were you working?
Yep, we were doing. What is that? Right by Chestnut Ridge. Is that
277?
277. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right down from the park entrance all the way down into the village.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So the road work office. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, remember that pipeline I was storing, that was for Otis. I think we were out there. You come out with the clearing first, right?
Well, I came out with Otis first and then got gout.
Oh, that's right. You had the gout.
Yep. Had to get laid off until I could walk a couple days later. But then, I came back out with brush cutters with the clearing crew and worked with them until the end of the season.
Right. That was an experience with brush cutters.
Yeah. Definitely different.
You got in the pipeline right away. That's cool. And then tell me, I remember there was a story about the power plant, Jamestown or something?
Yep, Jamestown Power Plant. We were working for Apollo Dismantling. I was oiling for Kurt Schober, taking, the two of the coal burners out so they could convert them to natural gas.
Who was that for, the company?
Apollo Dismantling.
Oh, yeah, Apollo Dismantling. It's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a time there where you being up on top of the thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they put they took the ROPS off of a Mini, put it in a skip box, and flew it like 85 feet up in the air with a hammer on it, so I could jackhammer the concrete lid off of one of the silos, so when they knocked it down, they could knock everything into the silo as it came down.
Yeah, just put the Apprentice up there.
Yeah, put the Apprentice up there.
Remember the crane? Whose crane was it?
Clark's.
Crawler?
Sandy crawler, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, they had to be new back then, Sandy's.
It wasn't. No. Newer, but it wasn't. It was far from new.
I forgot when those came out.
Yeah.
Huh. What else did you get into in the apprenticeship? Like, you obviously did all the training and took the crane test and all that stuff and everything else, yeah.
Yep. Spent a little bit of time at the Arkwright wind farm.
As an apprentice?
As an apprentice, yeah. I was out there oiling, then running a forklift for a while.
We had a gap in wind farms for a while after Orangeville, and then it went to Arkwright, which that was a pretty big job for a lot of our people.
Yeah. A lot of operators.
White construction.
White construction, yep. They did all of it, civil and the erection portion.
What'd you get to do out there with White?
I oiled for Chris Forward the first time I was out there.
Oiling?
Yeah.
On the cranes. You were oiling. So you were on the erection portion of this thing.
No, it was still foundations.
Oh, you're doing rebar.
He was just in we had an RT and we were swinging the rebar in for the iron workers. Gotcha. And then I went back out there. I was in a forklift with the blade flip crew. So when the blades got delivered, we unloaded them off the truck, and they have to flip them with the two cranes and then get them put on the stands. And
what time of year was that? Was it muddy or was it good?
Yeah, the blade flip thing was probably March all through the rest of the summer.
So probably pretty crummy conditions.
Yeah, buried. Yeah. Yep, buried.
Oh yeah, so I got a picture of a forklift from you one time. It was like you had a hard time opening the door up.
Yeah, I could barely open the door because it was so buried in the mud.
Yeah, that's great.
But that's where they told me to go, so I said not a good idea, but I'll go.
That was quite the experience. Those people didn't stop working in the crummy weather. They just kept on plugging away.
Yeah, they shut down for not very long. I think they laid everybody off but a handful of people in January, and they kept them around to put some of the box culverts in the roads while everybody else was off. But I think it was only probably a month and a half, maybe 2 months at the most, and they brought everybody back and went right back at it.
I think the season before that, they had issues with like supervision and whatever else, and their fix was just to throw more people at it because there was times where they had 30, 40 operators out there, and I remember Bill and Paul were talking about it, like, oh, they can't possibly need any more of this, that, and then they called for 13 more, and they just kept loading people up out there.
Yeah, when I was out there the first time oiling, we sat on a Sunday for 8 hours waiting for the iron workers to show up to swing the rebar in for them, and it was about 2 o'clock, and we were getting ready to head down to the yard to punch out and head home for the day, and here comes the van full of iron workers, and they're ready to tie.
They all just walk up?
All 2:30 on a Sunday, they're ready to tie.
Wow, they were hung over from the night before, just hung out?
Yeah, something. I don't know, they were, but then they were ready to go. So,
so you stayed till
dark, yep.
You worked the second shift, huh? That's great. Wow. Yeah, I remember there was a time out there where they were trying to blame the operators for not doing this, not doing that, and Bill and Paul took a drive around, and they stopped and seen a bunch of guys and came back to the office like, listen, we just went out there and saw 20, 30 operators, and not one of them is doing anything because they haven't been given nothing to do.
Right.
How is it their fault? But yeah, I don't know. There's I don't know. I hope White doesn't come back to us and say that it was ever our fault for doing stuff. But yeah, all right. So what else did you get into after that?
I was on the Skyway at nights with Union Concrete, holding the guys over the edge as they're fixing the outer barrier.
Oh yeah, okay. On the 138, probably sitting there with that man basket deal on it.
Yep, 138. Yep,
Yeah,
with a man basket.
yeah. Did you fall asleep?
A few times. Yep.
Of course.
A couple rocks thrown at the window.
At night, yeah. Yeah, that's it. Toss the rock.
Yep.
Sorry about your career choice.
Yep. You're the one that chose it, not me. Yep, 100%.
Yeah, I'm in here. Wow.
Yeah, and then one of the last ones I did before ending the apprenticeship there, got sent out with Darling as like an emergency St. Matthew Cemetery over
I remember
in
this
West
story.
Seneca.
This is crazy.
The side of the bank.
What day was it? Tell me what day it was. The day actually
When we first started, it was like a Thursday or a Friday.
in April, right?
In April, right? Yeah, just before Easter.
Easter.
Yep. So we were driving pile to save the bank around the creek on the side of the cemetery because the bank was washing out.
Yeah, the was flooding that year or something. All these, yeah.
The caskets were actually starting to show outside of the bank. So we drove a bunch of pile along, to shore up the bank, and then that was right before Easter, and then there had been a lot of rain. That's I think we were done Friday for the weekend, and then a bunch of rain Saturday or something, and they called them in emergency on Sunday.
Easter Sunday.
Because the caskets were because it washed out underneath the pile that we drove,
right.
And the caskets were actually about to start floating down the creek.
Remember, they called them in. Mark went in there, and they were pulling caskets out of the ground Easter Sunday and just moving them over,
Swinging them over onto a trailer and taking them to another part of the cemetery and reburying them.
And people are coming there to visit their loved ones on Sunday, and they can't find them because they're not where they're supposed to be.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a big to-do all over the
bad
news.
situation. Yeah. The moral of the story is you don't put a cemetery near a creek.
Yeah, don't pick a plot next to the bank.
Yeah, don't do that. Wow, that's definitely something that you're never gonna. I mean, it's hard to top that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. And then, so you graduated what year?
2020.
So what did you think overall with the apprenticeship? Like, you had some experience coming. How'd you get this? Did you have a CDL? Was that back when they recorded it still?
Yep, I had a CDL to get in.
And you just got that somewhere?
Yeah, a company I worked before, me and the two owners.
You guys went and got them together?
1, 2, 3 for the road test. One got out, the other one got in, the other one got out, the other one got in.
Were they mad when you quit because they got your CDL? So
Oh, we parted ways.
yeah, all right. You still talk to them?
Yep.
All right, that's good then. So 2020. No, I'm sorry. What was year? Was you?
Yeah, 2020.
Oh, that's funny.
Right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, you kind of. How many guys did you start with in the class? Do you remember?
I believe it was 11.
Mm-hmm.
Lost one the first week.
Always the first week is good.
And then 1 or 2 more the first year.
Okay.
And then there was another one that trickled out in the third year.
So you're like 4 down.
Yep.
From what it was. Okay. It's a little high, but it's not odd. 3, 4.
Oh.
Sometimes 1.
There was another couple of them. 3 we lost the first year, I think.
They leave or get kicked out? It really doesn't matter. Yeah.
3 left, and 1 was convinced that it was probably the best option.
It makes you wonder where those 3 are at now, and if they're any better off. Like, if it was a smart decision, if they'd look back and say, "What did I do that? I was into it for this long and then got out." But
yeah, 2 of them, I believe they went back to work for the state, plowing snow.
No.
One of them didn't agree with the fact that we did pipelines.
Oh. Oh, that's right. There was a green issue there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we can talk to those guys in another 20 years or so and see how their pensions are compared to ours. So you graduate the apprenticeship.
2020. Go out with Catco and with their electricians. We were doing some street lighting and conduit in a little neighborhood, and that finished up. And the next job wasn't quite ready, so they had to lay me off because they didn't have anything going on, obviously, because there was only certain jobs.
Just like what, June or something? Or the middle of summer? Or
May.
Okay, it's
yeah,
pretty
because
quick
April, I went out and I probably worked there for a month or so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe the end of May, beginning of June.
Work still wasn't that great in 16 yet. It was okay.
That
but
was
not
2020.
I'm sorry, 20.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2020.
20. Work wasn't. It was decent, but it wasn't
Starting to pick up, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, COVID, it was, certain
no,
jobs were going, certain weren't. And so I got laid off and being right out of the apprenticeship, didn't really want to sit and wait. So I put my name on the list, got a call, got sent out with Scott Lawn up in Niagara Falls. They were taking out 2 lanes of the Robert Moses and putting
they made that
bike
park,
paths and walking soft paths. And
so you were driving a little bit every day then.
Yep, all the way to right at the falls, right at the falls.
At least it's a nice place to work, kind of scenic.
Yeah, it was all right. Worked there all summer. Got laid off. Then went out with Intercon, little pipeline.
Oh yeah, he did a pipeline.
Yeah,
with Jerry.
Jerry Baker.
Yeah, Jerry
Baker,
great guy. Just
great
everything.
guy.
That's always smiling and laughing.
Yep. We spent a lot of time hauling a little suck wagon back and forth to his friend's family farm to defrost the thing out because it was the middle of winter.
That was the year that Badger wouldn't sign the PLCA contract. So they called me like, "How do we use Badger?" Like, "No, you can't use Badger. They're not signing the pipeline agreement." Are you kidding me? I'm like, "No, listen, call them and tell them to sign. You can use them." And they wouldn't. There was some national problem with the pipeline and Badger. They got it all worked out now. But yeah, then they had to bring in that little toy wagon. Because Enbridge's first thing when you get on a job is they got to hydrovac everything.
Everything, yep.
Which is great. It's nice and safe, but man, it takes time.
Yeah.
And this was probably in the wintertime too, right? Because they love to do things at the end of the year.
Yep. It was just, I think beginning of November when we started.
Enbridge is famous for like burning up their money all year long. Whenever they get left over in their budget, they'll go fix some anomaly digs. And I've worked for those guys, for different contractors, but for Enbridge probably 3 or 4 different years, and always in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever. Yeah. And that was up north on the line?
Yep, right off of Niagara Falls Boulevard.
Oh, yeah, up there by the 290.
Yep.
Yeah, we're across it. Yeah, okay. There's always, that line is buried under power lines for a long ways, and the power lines create such corrosion in the line, which is great. It'll just keep doing it, so we'll just keep fixing it.
Yeah, pretty cool job. We're the one substation there. We're feeding the deer food right out of our Fritos, right out of our hand.
Come on,
the big 8-point buck walk right up, just eat the Fritos right out of your hand.
They can't get. There's no hunting right there, right?
No,
that's pretty cool.
Yep.
See that stuff on Facebook or something, but never. Wow. Yeah, the stuff you'll see out there. So what was that the next year then? Where you ended up landing somewhere better, right?
Yep, Ball Hill.
Oh, yeah.
That was the start of the Ball Hill saga.
So 2021, we started Ball Hill. And you got picked to be a steward out there.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Went out there, first operator.
Yeah, it was you, Bill, myself, and Bob Kraft in the middle of that field.
Yep, waist tall grass.
It was, yeah. Yeah, we had heard about Ball Hill for a while as far as kind of preparation for that one, but then it ended up turning out to be a real deal, and it started up, and yeah, so you got your first taste of being a steward out there.
Yep.
And especially with Bob Kraft. With C.J. Merlot, which is a good company, but Kraft was an old school, hard-nosed superintendent.
Yep. His way or the highway.
He knew what he was doing. I don't think he really... I mean, I've seen way worse superintendents.
Shoots from the hip quite a bit, but he seems to land, so it works.
You got it done. So you guys started... How many towers in that job?
25.
So you guys started doing the foundations and all that, and they probably worked through the winter too, right? The first year?
We weren't supposed to. We started the laydown yard, some permitting issues, couple hiccups. Then we finally got out building access roads, got them all going, digging foundations, getting them poured, starting to backfill them. Everybody's going to be laid off by Thanksgiving, which got pushed to Christmas. And we had 24 out of 25 of them backfilled, and they decided they were going to bring a testing crew in. And they wanted to core sample the foundation, so they drilled in.
So we poured 25 foundations, And we get to the last one, and it's, let's test these things.
Yeah, let's take a core sample out of it real quick.
If I remember right, there was some goofy issues going on when they were pouring them that weren't jiving with the laborers and
Nope.
gung-ho foreman that was out there.
Yeah, gung-ho. Yeah, Kiewit.
Yeah, Kiewit.
Typical Kiewit power.
Yeah.
We got the money. We got the best of the best. It's our way or the highway. We know it all.
Sure. Yeah.
So they core sample the last one, pull the core out, and it breaks in half and it crumbles right there in their hands because it
Not
was
supposed to do that.
full of honeycomb, a bunch of voids.
Mm-hmm.
And
didn't they core one where just a water shot right out of it?
yeah, shot out, literally shot like it was pressurized.
So this number 25 fails.
Yep.
Then they decide to go back through and
the core sample failed. So then they decided to X-ray it, and then they brought in a sonar hammer where they would paint a grid pattern and hit it with the hammer to find the voids.
You guys had to dig them all back up, though, right?
So this is right before Christmas. So then they start having us. We start digging them back up.
At what point these things are all like backfilled, like graded, nice, like ready to go? Crane pads are almost not in, but ready.
It's so yeah. I mean, it was that time of year. It was kind of wet and muddy, but they were backfilled. It was. I mean, you were able to get a D6 on it. You know what I mean?
Compaction.
So it was like, compacted all the way up. Yeah.
Wow, a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Digging back up.
Yep, dig them back up. So they had 2 bigger hoes and a dozer, and they dig it right back down, get the bulk of the dirt off of it, and then they'd send. It was actually me in with a mini, have to crawl up the cone-shaped foundation and scrape the last little bit of dirt off until my tracks would hit the ice, and I'd slide down, and slam off the bank, and climb back up and keep peeling off. Yep, frozen. Yeah. And then the laborers had to bring a steam Jenny power washer trailer in, and then they would power wash them in the middle of winter. Frozen, yep.
That's great.
So we dug all of them back up, and then they decided that, they were going to try to save the ones they could and only take out the ones that they, had to, and that turned into all 25 of them having to come back out.
When you called me and told me you were hammering all 20, I was just like, you got to be kidding me, but I'm smiling the whole time.
Cha-ching.
Oh, man.
Yep.
That created some work.
Yeah. They started with having a couple hoes with hammers and one with a shear, so they could go at it with the hammers and the hose, and then the shears snipping the rebar out because there's three semi loads of rebar in each foundation.
Big bar too, nothing
big
small.
Bar. Yep.
Yeah.
So they started that, and it was over 2 weeks to get the first one out. So then they brought in a guy that had a 315 John Henry, which is a drill rig and a hoe. So they started drilling them and blasting them. And the first one, they didn't put enough oomph in it. So all it did was separate the pedestal from the main foundation and lift the whole thing up off the ground a couple inches and come right back down, never even cracked it.
You think it was the guy's first time drilling and blasting a windmill foundation? He was pretty old school. He's a nice guy. But
Hey Duke.
Yeah. But I don't think he ever actually did a foundation before, so I'm sure
I don't think so either. Yeah, so the second one, they really put the boots to it, and
let her have it.
The labor spent quite a few days picking concrete up throughout the woods.
It's good work if you can get it.
Yeah. But so then they drilled and blew up all 25 of them, and still takes, a little over a week to finish jackhammering the rest of the rebar and everything out of it. They had end dumps running up and down the main public roads with concrete hanging over the sides.
Yeah, what did we do with the concrete? We took it to one spot?
Yeah, one general location where they had a crusher set up, and they were crushing all the material right on site.
What was the plan for the crushed concrete at the time?
To put it back into the roads, because they were still, at that point, they were still trying to use bank run gravel for the roads, which wasn't holding up.
Yeah, how's bank run gravel work around here?
It doesn't.
It's always a good plan, right? When it starts off, yeah.
But then they got away from the crushed concrete too, because there was, the wire, part of the wire mesh and the rebar, and then the plastic from the bolts and the bolt cages was they had crews of laborers walking up and down the access roads after it was spread trying to pick the garbage out of it. And they realized that it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
So they steered away from it.
The DEC didn't like that crap on the top of the ground?
Nope. Yeah, so then they ended up using it to build the laydown yard where the batch plant ended up getting set up for the
part of their issue then was having the concrete too far away, I think.
That they were just trying to
speed things up, maybe.
Yeah, and just eliminate any possibility of why whatever.
I mean, the whole idea with not vibrating these things at all was,
right.
was
Yeah,
probably
they're concrete guru telling the group of guys that have poured, the last 20 some at Cassadaga and all the ones at Arkwright, the same crew had bounced there, and this Kiewit concrete gurus standing on the bank, jumping up and down, telling these guys to stop vibrating the concrete. It's gonna settle down. It's gonna settle down. Stop vibrating it. And these guys are like, "What are you talking about?" But he was the boss, so they listened. And
yeah, I remember Tommy Lippert, the 621 BA now was out there on that crew. And he was telling me, I went out to the guy and real politely told him, "Listen, we've done a lot of these. This, that. You got to vibrate this stuff." And the guy's, "I'm in charge." Blah 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 blah. Wow, how'd that work out for you?
Not very well.
I don't know much about concrete, but vibrating seems like a pretty standard operation, I would think.
It's the only way you're going to get the...
Man, that guy, listen, I'd like to shake his hand right now if I could see him, because he made us a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, single-handedly. Thanks, buddy, whoever your name is. So we tear these things out, and what time of what month in the year did we get tore out? You remember? Like when it ended up being like, okay, last foundation's out, we can restart this whole process now?
Well, they restarted...
Right.
As they were still, as they first got the first.
So we really can't put a time frame like what it took, but
I would say it was probably beginning of summer when they had the first couple out that they started redoing them,
putting them back in again. Yeah, I mean this really delayed the thing a whole season.
Yeah, I mean it was probably early beginning of summer, because by the time that we got all of them re-poured and backfilled, it was pretty much the same time as it was the year before, when we should have been laid off. I think we got laid off. Me and the laborer steward, we were the last two there. I think we got laid off the first or second week of January after we helped them load most of their stuff out.
And the new ones all passed the test?
They didn't test them.
They didn't test the new ones?
No, because they poured them the same way they poured the first ones.
That's interesting. Well, you'd think that...
So I mean, it was vibrated more. I shouldn't say that. It was vibrated more.
At least I did that. I had talked to one of the people from Northland, and I asked them, I said, why? And there's something to do with guaranteeing the when you go to sell a wind farm down the road, they want to, obviously it's worth more money if the foundations get guaranteed, like somebody will put their stamp on it, and after that first one failed, that the engineer wouldn't put their stamp on it, that the foundation was any good. Because actually, I'm learning that now that Bliss and Weathersfield are due to get repowered, and from what I understand, that it's the foundation that has the lifespan more than the tower itself. The tower itself the technology, as old it is going to put out as much power as it does, but it isn't structurally like the failure point. The engineer will look at the foundation and say, I'll guarantee this thing will be go another 10 years, or it's just not. And apparently out there, the guy said, after 20 years, I won't put my name on that foundation. So that's why it's coming out. So it makes sense, because obviously these wind farms get sold. They're a commodity. They could be getting sold. So that makes sense. But we didn't test it though, which is kind of weird. They didn't say, these are good. But
they say that what the life expectancy out of one of them towers anyways is 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, from what I'm learning, it's 25 years. But obviously in the last 20 years, let's take Bliss, for example, the technology's gotten so much better that they can make the same the same megawatt with a third of the towers that are up there now, with bigger, more efficient ones. So it makes sense to just not have that many leases and landowners and everything. But
eyesores.
Yeah, but I think there's people that engineers that will look at the tower and say, this thing's junk, or I'll put my stamp on it saying it's going to stand here for. I hope we repower them all, because there's a lot of turbines in this area that are getting old. So that'd be great.
Yeah, a lot of work.
So back to being the steward in that job. Obviously, some highs, lows. You learned a little bit. You had to learn something, right?
Yeah, I learned a lot.
It's hard not to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially, talking with you, who'd been a steward, bunch of jobs, mainly pipeline stuff. But talking with you, talking with Kelly Robley.
Kelly's was a great steward.
Yep. Just with other guys that have been stewards about different scenarios, and they give you ideas of how to handle a situation, and if people won't stop doing this, try going this route or whatever. But yeah, definitely learned a lot, and not just about dealing with contractors and contractual stuff, but definitely learned a lot about our own members as well.
Our own members will be most of the work when it comes to being a steward, which it's. I mean, there's good and bad with all that. You're proud of a bunch of guys when they do a bunch of work. I mean, I remember going up there and seeing I think it was Ken Austin and
John
Kozak. Man, they do a nice job on digging a foundation out. It just looks gorgeous.
We'd pull into a site and I say, okay, we've seen the last one. Now we're going to pull into a John and Ken site, and completely different.
Just proud as hell to be their brothers. And then, but obviously you get when you get that many. How many engineers on that job you think at your peak? At least on the dirt side, like if you're doing
at peak between Kiewit, Merlot, and then when ITS was there doing the collection line at the same time, on the job at one time there was 65 operators.
Yeah, 65 operators, 65 personalities, 65
three different companies.
Yeah, 3 different companies. Like everybody's got something going on. There's got to be a flat tire or an oversleeping or.
Yeah, 3 companies, 3 out of town companies that aren't used to dealing with our contract.
Our contract is funny because it always, to me, it seems like where they came from last. Like if they came from a real weak local that didn't have conditions or a good steward, they just thought that, we do this, we do that. And then we tell them, no, that's not the way it works in 17. And then they either
the guaranteed 40.
The guaranteed 40 is not in a lot of places. Like I don't think it's hardly anywhere. And they don't know how to deal with that. And if they come from like 825 or somewhere in the city, they're pretty used to some pretty tough conditions, so they might, but it's always seemed like that's the case. Where were they? The last guy didn't make me do that. The last contract, well, you're here now.
Yep, so, that's them, not us.
Yeah, and it just depends. I mean, up there, the 40-hour guarantee probably didn't come into play a lot because everybody's working a ton of hours, but I know it did. And then that was under the National Wind Turbine Agreement.
Yep.
So that had a little bit different language in it.
Yeah, because it covers all the trades and lists everybody's duties in the back of it. You know what I mean? So it kind of
covers the scope of work. Yeah, which is nice because you don't argue about what's what. Nope.
It comes up and you flip to the back of the contract and it's laid right out. Who's doing it and why.
In the pre-job, we had a pretty good handle on that, and then we that also had some different guarantees, and like there was show-up pay in that one.
2 hours show up pay, but they could hold you. They could hold you to it.
Yeah. And then there was also language for payoff.
Payoff was like you had your check in your hand, but then when you got laid off,
and there was a penalty for it if you didn't get it right.
4 hours. 4 hours.
4 hours.
4
pay,
hours.
Right?
4 hours a day. Yeah.
If they didn't get it to you that day, which was great. Yeah, that was.
Or
cool.
They could show you that it was electronically transferred that day too. But if they didn't put it in by noon, it wouldn't have been transferred that day. That was actually one of the companies that I learned that you could actually, you get all these people that say, well, lay off, pay me. Well, you got direct deposit. I can't do it. And Kiewit were the one. If it went in before noon, it was in your account that day.
Right. Yeah. Bring up your account.
It can be. Yeah. Right. I've seen it done. So don't tell me you can't do it.
There's so many. We can't. Our system's not set up for that. Well, it can be.
You pay enough.
Yeah. You pay enough. There's a way. How many guys did you have that had to have paper checks? Did you have one of those guys on your job?
I don't.
It seemed like every chop house under somebody that had to have a paper check in their hand.
Yeah, I don't. There might have been one or two, but I don't know that they even offered it. They might have. I know when we did the erection portion global, they don't offer a paper check.
That's it. Yeah,
That's
it
it.
doesn't.
They don't offer it.
Figure it out. Your own. Yep. Your money's in some account. What about the pay stubs? Like printing the pay stubs, or did you guys have an app on that one?
Not for Kiewit. Kiewit was old paper stubs.
Stubs.
Yeah, there was no issues.
And then, but because I know a lot of these companies are going to like an app-based system where you can, it goes on an app and you can see what's in your account. Like, was one of them companies where they had like the preview? Like you would get your preview of your paycheck on Tuesday, you approve it, and then it went in the bank on Wednesday night. Was that up there, or was that a different job?
So that was on the erection portion. So that was it was through Global. But it was actually Bay Crane, so my paycheck was coming from Global. But they were Global's was just as bad. There was 2 apps, one that you used to punch in and punch out on, and then Paychecks Flex is where your hours went in and your pay stub came through, and it was,
That was kind of cool though, where you could get an opportunity on Tuesday to say, hey, I'm missing hours or this isn't right, and then they fix it before. Because as you know, chasing makeup checks it gets tough.
Yeah, that was a great tool, and it also made me realize that the apprentices were getting overpaid, which I had brought up to the apprentices and to the.
Were they getting dreaming, right? Like A-rate or something?
Yep. And they're like, "Why would you say something that?" I said, "Well, because if they figure it out and they want their money back, they're going to do it." So I had brought it up to
their money,
to their head guy a couple different times, and nothing ever came about it. So I just let it go. Well, he's not going to change it,
right?
Until his boss caught it, and then all of a sudden they wanted the money back, and what a nightmare that turned into.
Yeah, they wanted it. They were going to take it like all at once.
Yeah, they wanted to take it out, and I mean it was thousands of dollars for some of them guys.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of hours in. Yeah, the moral of that story is like if you are getting overpaid, you tell somebody, make sure they know. And if they don't do nothing about it, well, you get to keep it. But don't be surprised if they come and take it. So don't spend it because they're going to want it back at some point. And it's law. There's nothing we can do to. A lot of people are like, oh, once they pay it to me, it's mine. Good luck with that. Yeah, they'll just.
Let me know how that holds up in court.
It doesn't work out too well. So that job, obviously, you stewarded for. That was C.J. Merlot.
C.J. Merlot. Kiewit.
Yeah, Global Wind and Bay Crane there. So you went from the dirt portion over to the erection portion then.
Yep.
And then, so we had Global and Bay. So you were steward for them guys too then? Which kind of covered both?
Yep. Well, yeah, so I worked for Merlot, switched to Kiewit's payroll, but still covered Merlot. ITS came in to do the collection line. I covered them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So ITS was that Cadian company that decided we're going to plow the cable.
We've done this work in the worst conditions, worse than you guys got here.
Yeah,
that didn't work very well for them either.
Remember that was supposed to be trenched. They came in, promised the world that they could do it with a cable plow.
With a cable plow, yep.
How did that work out? I mean, they got it in the ground.
Yeah, they got it in the ground, but not very well.
No, it's not.
I mean, the repairs and the patches on that line, they say that line's equivalent to a line that's been in the ground for 25 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm sure they didn't pay like full price for it, but to have a brand new line that's already got that much, they call it high kin delta in it, resistance. And then we had, so that was the erection was year 3?
Year 3, yep.
So year 3, so we're in 2024.
2023.
Right? Because 21 you started out there, 22 was the dirt, and the
21, 22 were dirt.
And re-pour of 25 foundations, and then 23 would have been the erection?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so 23. We got, how will that go? Bay Crane's a top-notch company. Like those guys just...
They weren't messing around. They came in and they, even Global, they went to the first couple crane pads and they said absolutely not. And they went right into Northland and Kiewit's office and said, this isn't, you know what I mean? You better start building us some pads because we're not going to start standing these and you're going to get the bill.
Yeah.
We got guys on site. We got cranes on site that are getting, the rentals are being paid for. You're going to get starting to get back charged.
Yeah. Remember, and Bay was great because everybody on their payroll is operators, right?
Yeah, everybody. Truck drivers, everybody.
Yeah. There was that one time you told me they had, they did have, they do use some iron workers too, but yeah. Right, but yeah, for the trade, right, but everybody else wasn't. Remember I remember at one point, Kiewit couldn't do the crane pads. They didn't have enough people or they were too expensive, so then Northland went on their own and they hired another company.
Yeah,
that was in there doing it. And they did fine. They come in there and did their work, whatever. But I remember that one story you told me where they brought that crawler in and set it up right in the way so they couldn't get. Yeah,
because it was a non-union company. Yep,
that was awesome.
Them guys were no joke.
No, it was.
And you're talking, what is that? Local 4 out of Boston. Them guys are no. That's where most of
That was so cool to work with those guys.
Bobby Breen. Yeah.
I loved working with those guys from the east of here because they're just no crap. They do it.
Yeah.
So what crane? You had some big cranes out there.
Yeah, truck crane, 1750s.
LR 1750 LeBairs, a couple of those.
2 of them, yeah.
And then a couple of the
LTR 1220s, the crawlers with the
squirt boom
down them. Yep.
Those were cool.
Yeah, and then we had 2 LeBair 500-ton truck cranes that would go and stack the first 3 sections.
Didn't they bring out some old piece of junk red and white 500-ton truck crane too? Remember that one? It was like a link belt, or remember it was like red and white and it looked like it was
there was 2
40
of them.
years old. Yeah. Still worked okay.
The Apprentice, the one Apprentice, Emily Ellison, she ran that.
She ran that?
Yeah.
That's great. I remember she was running.
She set most of the first couple tower sections on almost all of them.
She was a first-year apprentice, wasn't she?
Yeah.
That's crazy. A first-year apprentice setting tower section.
They had a new crane operator come in and wasn't really familiar with the crane, and they sent her over there to show him how to run it.
Send the first year
apprentice over there to show him how to run the crane.
I love it. So cool.
Yeah.
That's something that does. I mean, that's like, we always, we're proud of our oilers. We love having them on the cranes, but when you have situations like that, that totally makes sense to have an oiler, because it's always going to have, something get switched up or whatever. I remember going out there, or actually the job before that, it would have been at Casadega, to just stop in and see the job, and Vince Cummings is out there, and they weren't doing nothing. They were just hanging out waiting for parts or whatever. And I walk up to the crane. He had one of those LTR 1750s too, and there's this guy standing there, and I thought I recognized him, but I didn't. I'm like, I don't know where to know this dude from. And Vince is like, Bob, show him the crane. So I'd hop up in there, crawl up in the thing, sit down, and start swinging around a little bit. And this guy's just showing me everything about the crane. Do this, do that, do that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, he must be a tech that works for the company or something. He's doing this. And then I come back out, and I get ready to leave, and Hopkins is there with me. I said, who's that guy? He says, that's the oiler, first year apprentice, Bob Shunk. And I'm like, what? He knew everything about the crane. It was so cool. But yeah, so that went pretty well then, the whole erection portion of it.
Yeah, quick. Yep.
Yeah. That was about the only thing on that job that went like it was supposed to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, so that went over, and then that would have been into 24. They were pretty much done that year. Keywood had to come back and do cleanup then.
Yeah, 23, we set them. Then I went back to Merlot. Ryan Press was the steward there. I just went back over as an operator, doing cleanup, restoration work.
And then the next year
is when Ironwood.
Yeah, Ironwood. So they had some issues out there with, so Keywood decided to not put box culverts in. They thought the Army Corps of Engineers was not smart enough or whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, they thought that they could just take the prints and give them to their engineers and let their engineers redesign them because they know more than the Army Corps.
Sure. Okay.
So instead of putting the box culverts in, they just put bigger pipe, double culvert, you know what I mean, double culvert pipe instead of a single, instead of the box culvert, whatever. And then when the Army Corps came through and walked it, they said absolutely not.
I mean, I'm not going to say they were wrong, but Keywood's engineers are pretty smart, but you really just can't tell the Army Corps what you're
not going to win. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They had, I remember the first one they went out there to do, or one, I shouldn't say the first one. One of them they went out there to do was absolutely dry, no water in it. It was a dual HDPE type culvert, dry as a bone. They had to take it out, put a big box in. It was a lot bigger than it was. And then a bunch of them had to be lowered because they didn't hold water for the turtles across.
Yeah, they had to hold water and mud so the turtles could slide across through.
Yeah, which I get it. They just didn't do it. But that made a whole nother season out there for a much smaller crew.
Yeah.
To go do that. And then after they finished that, they had to go and replace 2 or 3 different drill sections.
Yeah, bores, because the
HDPE.
The SDR was wrong.
SDR, yeah. The SDR was wrong on the pipe, so that created year number 5.
Mm-hmm.
And they finished that in the end of 24. Yeah, end of 24. Yep. Right at Christmas time, I think. They covered it up and it snowed on it.
Yep. Supposedly there was a non-union company up there last year doing the work.
Yeah, well, so that would have been year number 6. Obviously not for us, but I think Keywood walked away from it. It was just a drill site, it's like little small
couple
spots.
Weeks,
yeah, a couple weeks worth of work, but it actually 6 years worth of work in that job.
On a 3-year job.
Man, we made some money. I remember halfway through the job, I was looking through the hours in that thing, and it was incredible. It was like 75,000 hours or something.
I think it was over 100,000.
Oh, at least, yeah. I'm sure it's well over that if you actually went through and totaled it. But yeah, a lot of money, a lot of benefits. It was great.
Just on the operators too. That's not the other trades.
Yeah. There was a lot of people that made a lot of money on that one. That's an expensive wind farm. And then going the next year, then you were slated to be steward for
Alley Cat.
The big job, the Alley Cat. Been talking about this one since 2018, I believe, is when we started doing some recon and public speaking work and everything else in that one.
Cooking hot dogs and hamburgers outside the arcade village hall.
Yeah, arguing with the locals about the worms and low frequency vibration and whatever else is going on with that one.
The Nightcrawler farms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then you started out there in the middle of the season, I think, right? Remember there was a big promise with all this work and
I waited to go out there.
yeah. One of those ones where I'm like, I can send you here, send you there, or you can just hang out for another.
I went to the Bill Stadium.
Weeks. Yeah, you did. You went to the stadium. That's right.
So I could say I worked on it.
Well, you worked in the Bill Stadium, yeah.
Yeah, put conduit 16 feet in the ground.
16 feet deep. Did you have to dig it? Well, I'm sure somebody went back over it or had to dig underneath it or do whatever at this point, but yeah. Yeah. And then, so you started out there. I remember getting the call, hey, we're going to start Alley Cat. We got to go to the O&M building first. And 3-4 months worth of work for 3-4 guys, and then we're going to roll right in the big job. And I'm like, sweet, this is what I've been promising Sean for a few months now. And
yeah, the O&M building, going to do that. It's going to turn into the clearing for the 100-acre laydown yard, and then that's going to go roll right into the clearing, and it's just going to go right one.
Yeah, just solid work for the next 4 years.
Yep.
How'd that work?
Got out there, broke ground, and I called you after the first week and said, hey, man, there's only a couple weeks worth of work out here. He's like, no, there's not. No, there's not. I said, come out and take a look for yourself. And you're like, you showed up that next day, and you're like, whoa. I said, yeah, it don't take
you guys
much.
said everything done right away. And I called the guy, and I'm like, what are you talking? Like, where is this we got some access roads to do. I'm like, 40? No. And then they tried blaming it on permits, and I'm like, I thought right away, I'm like, have these guys ever done any work before? Because if they thought there was more than 3 weeks worth of work on this site here for these guys, and so it was kind of a surprise.
There was a big cut into the side of the hill, but it wasn't. You put a D6 and
was that thing even an acre?
490. It was, I think, 5 acres, but
was
still,
it 5?
Yeah,
but I mean, it wasn't. The building's tiny though.
Yeah, you got 2 big dozers, a big hoe, and somebody at an end dump. Like you're on a 5-acre lot. Where are you going?
What was that Hitachi? Was it a
490?
And he had to dig a foundation size of a postage stamp with it. Yeah.
With a 5-foot bucket or 6-foot bucket.
Yeah, it was huge. Remember that? How'd that foundation go?
Another foundation. Maybe it's me. Because that
you would say even foundations. What happened to that one?
I don't know. It was in the wrong spot. Survey guy laid it out wrong, so they had to. Luckily, it was just the footer and not the wall.
And they had a 5-foot trench to put it in, and still screwed it up.
And still screwed it. And even to move it, it was still the hole was still off.
I remember that concrete company. We were out there and we were trying to watch them set up it was a job trailer that looked like it should have been in the junkyard years ago, and they were trying to put the thing up on
blocks,
cinder
and
blocks.
It fell off the blocks.
Yeah, I'm like, if these guys can't even put a job trailer up the right way, how's this going to work? Yeah. So we did that, and then it was like, did you end up getting laid off? Yeah, you got laid off because there was just nothing to do after a bit, right?
Permits there was permits. They were still on. There was a 4 or 5 access roads that we could go put some culvert pipe in and stuff like that. And then it was yes, no. So they kept 2 of us, me and Alan Culvert. They kept 2 of us there and tried to keep us busy for as much as they could. We moved some topsoil piles and reshaping of the bank, and they were kind of waiting for a green light on because they had to put a septic system in for the permanent building, so that we were going to do that. But then it all fell through. So I got offered a job in the office.
Yeah, I remember talking to Bill like, man, we just promised this dude the work, and we just bailing out, like, what do we do with him now? Because we didn't want to send you out to something else that was going to be like...
Yeah, because they were claiming that it was still going to come back.
Oh, yeah, they were next week in us. Next week thing for a while, which is a classic move for a contractor. And we're like, well, what if this thing goes and we send them somewhere else, and then we got to pull them, and it's tough business. So then, we needed the help here, obviously. We were in a situation where we're, still trying to staff a lot of jobs and just trying to find the talent out there, with different operators. So yeah, that worked out pretty well. How was that? What was that decision like to take that? I mean, I know at that time it was kind of still sort of temporary, but
yeah. So yeah, kind of just took the job and going around, not so much organizing the companies, but looking for the talent to bring in because we were short guys. So I did that for a while, and there was still no word for Alley Cat. So then I got offered this full time. And
what was that decision like to make? I mean, you got Alley Cat in front of you, big work, lots of hours for a few years.
Lots of hours for a few years, coming off of a few big years, and coming to a 40-hour salary, and
less money here for sure than work.
Almost kind of like an office setting. It was definitely a different change of pace that I was used to, and it's actually a conversation I had with you that you could always go back in the field, but if you don't take the opportunity and go back in the field, then the opportunity might not be there to come in the office down the road. So it kind of hit home. So I took it, and with the intentions, if I didn't like it, you know what I mean, I could always go back in the field. And
a lot of my advice is recirculated from guys I got it from, and it's recirculated from guys they got it from, and it's just all works. Yeah, it is all it works. But I did the same thing. I asked some of my great boys, I'm like, do they want me to come in the office and be a BA? And you can always go back in the field, kid. I said, well, you're not wrong there.
Well, it hits home, you know what I mean? It's just like
you think,
our language almost, you know what I mean?
Right,
like you're trying to weigh out what you're going to do, and it's just like, well...
We hire somebody to do a job even though we want the other guy, and then the other guy comes with us a year later and says, hey, I want that job. Well, we've already got a year invested in this guy and, in training and everything else. It's just not something that you bail on. And then if you get a guy like your age, well, if you stick it out, you're here for the rest of your career. Like it isn't, the door's not going to open for the next guy for a while yet.
Right.
So there's some truth to that. But yeah, you can always. I actually just had the same kind of advice when I was I'm in a pipeline class in my 4th year as an apprentice, and I get a phone call from Union Concrete. Hey, what did you have for a job lined up? I'm like, well, I didn't. I wanted to go pipeline in the worst way, but there wasn't any. It was like March, maybe early April. There wasn't anything kicking off yet, and I looked at one instructor. I'm like, I just got offered a job on a road job. To me, he says, you can always quit a job, kid. Yes, you're right. So I took it, and I ended up quitting it then, but there wasn't a lot of work that year for pipeline stuff, especially for green operators, so it didn't really matter. But yeah. So now you're here, and your capacity here is really just more than an organizer at this time.
Yep. Business agent.
Yeah.
/ organizer.
Yeah. How's that going?
Good. It's different, definitely. Change of pace, but
yeah, a lot to learn, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I know a slight fraction of what
I say it takes 5 years to get comfortable doing this job. This is my 8th, 9th. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 8, 9th. This will be the 9th season starting, so it's like I'm comfortable now, but man, I don't know everything. Really,
I got questions every day.
Every day, yeah, I'm looking something up, changing this, and every day it's a new challenge. So there's definitely, you never stop learning or never stop challenging yourself with this stuff. Because, especially if you care and you want to make it better, which is good. But yeah, it's good to have you here in the office, and good to be doing this podcast. That hopefully we'll get some good traction with this, and it takes off. All right, what else you got going on? You are on the executive board now?
Yep.
And also the apparel committee?
Yep. Been on the e-board since September of 23.
How'd that go? Somebody call you, ask you want to be on the e-board? I forget, it wasn't me, so.
Yep, somebody called. You're the guy we need at the door.
The door was my big thing. I always, with the door, I thought there always should be a tough guy over there, or at least somebody that to greet people and be that. So that was cool. Yeah, the door's great. I'd go back on the door tomorrow.
I don't mind the door one.
I would love to be on the door instead of at the podium. Yep. It's a great spot to be.
Great opportunity to meet everybody, shake everybody's hand.
100%. Get the riffraff out.
Yeah, and then I've been the chairman of the apparel committee for probably 3-4 years. Yeah, but that's just the formal title. I mean, me and Brandon Carbone took that over when we were apprentices years ago. Actually, the first time me and him went down to Texas, and we're walking around the lobby having our couple of complimentary drinks at night, and we're like, man, look at all these sweatshirts that all these other locals got. Like, where are ours? We got to do something. And Kelly was with us, and Kelly's like, start taking pictures. You want to do it? I'm sure Nat will hand it right over.
Yeah, because Nat Ruffner was up for a while.
He's like, I'm sure,
Yeah, he would do it. He didn't like to do it, but he knew it had to be done. He did a good job at it, but it was just one man. He couldn't really do... He didn't have great, or a lot of ideas or any input from anybody else at the time, but he did good for a bit.
Yeah, we took it over, and then we'd come up with an idea and contact a supplier, and then have to take it and present it in front of the executive board, and then get it approved. And
this is while you were still an apprentice, you think?
Yeah, yeah. We were both. Yeah, me and Brandon both were apprentices, and then we got it formed to where we had like a revolving budget, that we could just work off of, and then when we sell stuff, the money goes back in there, and then we formed a committee. So we got B, Carbone, Matt Waltos, Bob Shunk, Brandon Walzak.
Nice. And that's still there today, all those guys?
Yeah. Yep.
So what do we have for apparel that's like for sale now? Like
We got 3 different winter hats. I think 4 different just regular ball cap style hats.
Any camo hats?
Yeah, we do have camo hats still. Yep.
People also like
We have a hood, one hoodie, another sweatshirt that's got like a quarter zip crew neck, and then just a normal crew neck.
Okay.
2 or 3 different long sleeves, and then some short sleeves.
Good. And as far as like new idea, how do you come up with new content for that, like for the apparel stuff? I know it's not easy. You know, this guy wants a shirt. This guy wants a, you know, can I order our Carhartt vest or whatever? You know, everybody wants something different or new ideas or.
Yeah, we all kind of just work on our own little designs and then send them in a group message and get them approved. Like, you know what I mean, to see what everybody thinks about that. But we're not opposed. You know what I mean. If anybody's got any ideas or anything, send us a text message with a picture of it or an email, whatever. We're not opposed to looking at anybody else's, you know, artwork as well.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of locals out there that got some neat stuff. So
yeah.
I'm not afraid to steal an idea.
I'm not an artist by any means.
No, but we'll steal an idea.
Yeah, for sure.
So how do we get that then? How do you buy the apparel?
If you got a login and password for the website, you can. There's in the member section. There's the merchandise thing.
Okay.
You can always come to the hall here. We could take you back in the room and show you what we got, or come to a union meeting. We always got the table set up with one of us are usually at the table back there, along with maybe a couple of apprentices helping out.
Cash only.
Cash only. Yep.
Yeah. Bring your cash to the union meeting so you can buy some apparel. I know we can also ship it too if you want to call the office, and if you pick something out, they'll take a credit card over the phone.
Yep.
We'll ship it out to you.
Yeah, especially if there's somebody listening from a different local or something, they want something that's got local 17 on it. Get a hold of us and we'll.
I've sent stickers,
get it sent out.
Stickers and pins and different stuff to people that reach out once in a while from our locals, which is cool. So yeah. All right. Well, anybody you want to thank or anything else you want to say and talk about?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, I guess that'll conclude our first episode, and look forward to doing some more interviews in the next ones. And if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, please subscribe, like, and share. Check us out on the web at IUOE-17.com or Facebook at IUOE Local 17. We'll see you next time.